Capricorn. If you're hearing this right now, there is a reason. You didn't arrive by accident. Something in your spirit led you here. A quiet pull, a knowing, the sense that something hasn't felt right for a long time. You've carried a weight in your chest, a pressure you couldn't name, an intuition that whispered, "Pay attention." Tonight, that whisper becomes truth, and you will finally understand what your soul has been trying to show you. But first, Capricorn, write this in the comments to open your inner power. I am ready for the truth, and I am ready for my liberation. Let those words anchor you, because what comes next will shift the way you see everything. Capricorn, you didn't wander into this moment by chance. You arrived because something inside you has been stirring. Quietly, steadily, like a soft knock on a locked door. A feeling you tried to brush aside while taking care of everyone else. A whisper that said, without words, something is off. You felt it in the pauses between conversations, in the heaviness that settled in your chest when a familiar name came up, in that slow breath you held without noticing, as if your body knew what your mind wasn't ready to face. Capricorn, your intuition rarely shouts. It speaks in silence. It speaks in the way your thoughts drift back to the same person, over and over, even when you're trying to focus on 100 other things. It speaks through that pressure behind your ribs, the kind that makes you stop, look around the room, and wonder why the air suddenly feels different. You've carried this feeling for longer than you admit. You kept moving forward because that's what you do. You keep going. You push through storms with a steady heart. But even the strongest souls have moments when the truth begins to tap on the window, asking to be seen. And tonight, that truth finally finds you. Not to break you, not to turn your world upside down, but to free you from the weight you've been holding alone. A weight you never asked for. A weight you didn't deserve. There is a moment, Capricorn, when the heart knows before the mind catches up. When your spirit sends signals in the form of small aches, restless thoughts, or dreams that feel too vivid to ignore. You've been receiving those signs, soft at first, then sharper, and now, unmistakable. You may have wondered if you were imagining it, if maybe you were tired, if maybe you were reading too much into things. But deep down, you knew. You always know. Capricorn senses the shift before the world admits something has changed. And I want you to hear this with the calm of a late-night sky. You were never wrong. Your heart has been protecting you long before the truth learned how to speak. Take a breath with me. Slow, steady. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your spine straighten on its own, as if your body recognizes this moment as something important. Because it is. You're standing at the edge of clarity, and clarity doesn't come to punish. It comes to release, to show you what your soul has outgrown, to guide you towards something cleaner, truer, and finally aligned with the person you've become. Let yourself rest inside that knowing. Let the air shift around you. Let your heart loosen its grip just a little, because the story you are about to hear has been waiting for the right moment to reach you. And now that you are here, and now that you are ready, the path begins to open in a way you could feel, long before you could explain. Capricorn, I want you to breathe for a moment. Let the room settle around you. Let the air move a little slower, because what I'm about to share touches a place in you that you've kept guarded for a long time. You've always carried family like a responsibility written into your bones. You show up, you hold space, you carry more than you speak about, because loyalty means something real to you, which is why this truth feels heavier than the rest, why it presses against your heart in a way other disappointments never could. When the hurt comes from a stranger, you shake it off. But when it comes from someone who shared your childhood sky, someone whose laughter once echoed through the same walls as yours, the wound lands differently. It reaches deeper. It leaves a silent ache that reason can't explain. There is someone in your family, someone whose face you know almost as well as your own, who moved in a way you never imagined. A sister. An energy that should have been an ally. Someone you held up when she stumbled. Someone you defended when others misunderstood her. Someone you believed would never twist the bond you protected so fiercely. And yet, something shifted in her. Not suddenly, but slowly. The way shadows move when the sun begins to sink. A quiet jealousy. A comparison she never voiced. A feeling of falling behind while you kept rising, step by step, without asking for applause. She carried those emotions like stones she didn't know how to put down, and instead of healing them, she placed them between you. She didn't walk this path alone. Another relative, someone you never thought twice about, became the echo chamber that fed her resentment. Two hearts, both wounded in their own ways, mirroring each other's bitterness until it grew into something larger than either one of them could control. It wasn't an impulsive moment. It wasn't an accident born of stress or confusion. It was a slow weaving, thin threads of misunderstanding becoming thicker, until the story they built together felt real to them, even though it was never true. If you're wondering why you didn't see it sooner, Capricorn, you weren't meant to. Your heart sees the best in the people you love. You give benefit of the doubt long past the point others would walk away. That isn't weakness, it's grace. It's the quiet strength of someone who knows loyalty is a sacred thing and treats it that way. But even sacred things can be mishandled by hands that don't understand their weight. Let yourself sit with that for a moment. Let the truth settle without forcing it. Let your heart find its own pace again. Because in understanding what happened, a different kind of clarity begins to rise. A clarity that doesn't blame, but reveals. A clarity that opens a door you didn't realize you were standing in front of. And as you step closer, you'll start to see what your spirit has been trying to prepare you for all along. Capricorn, there's something I want you to sit with for a moment. A truth you've felt long before you had the words for it. You've always been the kind of soul who notices what others overlook, the shift in someone's voice, the pause that lasts just a second too long, the way a room changes when certain people walk in. You sense these things in your bones, quietly, instinctively, the way the earth senses a coming storm. You've picked up on signs for a while now, even if you tried to ignore them. A glance that didn't match the smile, a conversation that suddenly went still when you entered the room, a softness in someone's tone when they needed something, and a sharpness when they thought you weren't listening. You felt those moments. You tucked them away in that private place where you keep the things you're still trying to understand. And when someone you care about speaks your name in a way that doesn't feel like love, your heart knows. Even if your mind tries to reason, even if you tell yourself you must be tired, or reading too much into it. Capricorn, your intuition is far more accurate than you give yourself credit for. It's been whispering to you, nudging you, showing you glimpses of a truth you weren't ready to hold yet. The harm wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't come crashing through your world. It slipped in quietly, like a draft under a closed door. Small comments, offhand jokes, subtle shifts in behavior that seemed harmless on the surface, but carried a heaviness you couldn't quite name. They didn't strike with a single blow. They chipped away slowly. A word here, a silence there. Moments that made you question yourself, your worth, your place in the family you tried so hard to keep together. Not because you did anything wrong, but because some people don't know how to hold someone who shines differently than they do. You opened your heart in honesty, shared things you meant with sincerity, and watched those same truths get twisted into shadows behind your back. It's a painful thing, isn't it, to realize someone used your vulnerability as material for their story. Not to understand you, but to diminish you. And yet, even in that hurt, you stayed kind. You stayed steady. You stayed you. That's something they couldn't touch, no matter how many small cuts they tried to make. Let yourself breathe here. Let the quiet settle around you like a blanket. Because once you really see the pattern, once you recognize the shape of the wound, something shifts inside you. Not into anger, but into a deeper kind of clarity. A clarity that feels like standing at the edge of a place you visited in dreams, where the light falls differently and the truth begins to rise in ways you can finally understand. And as that understanding gathers itself within you, you'll feel the next part of this story calling, gentle but certain, like a door beginning to open somewhere inside your chest. Capricorn, there is something I need you to hear with the quiet part of your mind, the part that doesn't argue, the part that simply knows. People don't always understand where your strength comes from. To them, you look steady, unshakable, focused in a way that makes them question their own reflection. They see the results of your discipline, but not the nights you stayed up longer than you should have. They see the way you carry responsibility, but not the weight that shaped your spine into something resilient. They admire your composure, Yet deep inside, some of them resent it. You didn't ask to become a point of comparison. You didn't try to outshine anyone. You were just trying to build a life that felt safe, stable, honest. But sometimes your light brushes against someone else's insecurity, and instead of letting your example inspire them, they let it wound them. There is a quiet truth you've lived with for years now. Your strength has always been misunderstood. People assume it comes easily to you, not realizing that every step forward cost you something: patience, sacrifice, courage you never bragged about. While they saw the path under your feet, they never noticed the storms you walked through alone. And when someone cannot recreate that strength within themselves, they may try to dim the person who embodies it. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your existence forces them to confront their own reflection, a reflection they don't want to face. You became a target the day your consistency exposed their instability, the day your truth made their excuses louder inside their own minds, the day your quiet confidence reminded them of everything they avoided healing. This was never about you being too much. It was about them feeling too little. And instead of rising to meet you, instead of learning from the way you build, they chose the easier path: to whisper, to doubt, to twist the narrative in a direction that made them feel bigger by shrinking you. But Capricorn, even when they tried to pull threads from your foundation, they forgot one thing. You are not held together by approval. You are held together by purpose, by the way you show up when it matters, by the way you keep your word, even when no one is watching, by the way life shaped you from the inside out. Take a slow breath. Let it settle through you. Because when you understand why you were targeted, something softens, not in defeat, but in clarity. A clarity that whispers you were never the problem. You were the mirror, and some people were not ready to face what they saw. And as you feel that truth settle in, another realization begins to rise. Gentle, steady, pulling you toward a part of the story your heart has been waiting to understand. Capricorn, before we go any further, I want you to let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your breath fall into a slower rhythm. Because what we're stepping into now isn't about conflict, it's about clarity. A kind of clarity that moves through your life the way dawn moves across a quiet field. Soft at first, then undeniable. You've never been the type to chase drama. You value peace, stability, a sense of solid ground beneath your feet. And when someone tries to disrupt that, your instinct isn't to attack, but to pull back, observe, and protect what matters. It's one of the reasons the universe moves differently with you. You don't act from impulse, so life doesn't send you impulsive lessons. It sends you revelations. Everything that has happened behind your back, every word that was twisted, every intention masked under politeness, every moment that drained your energy without explanation. All of it has already been witnessed, not by people, but by something far more precise, something that doesn't sleep, doesn't forget, and doesn't play favorites. There is a balance in this world, Capricorn, a balance that returns what is given, whether spoken aloud or hidden in silence. You may not have seen the conversations that took place when you weren't in the room. You may not know the full shape of the story others tried to create around your name. But life knows. Life always knows. That's why small signs have been appearing around you. Moments that feel like coincidences but linger in your mind long after. A sentence overheard, a shift in someone's tone, an unexpected piece of information that seems to fall into your lap at the exact moment you were questioning everything. These aren't accidents. They're gentle nudges from the universe, letting you know that truth has already begun its journey toward the light. And the most powerful part isn't what gets revealed. It's how you choose to stand in the knowing of it. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to gather evidence or replay conversations to prove yourself right. Your spirit has already confirmed what your mind needed time to process. You are not imagining things. You are not being dramatic. You are not misunderstanding the room. Your body recognized the shift long before your voice could name it. So, breathe, Capricorn. There is nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to force. The truth has its own momentum, and it is already moving in your direction. Let it come. Let it unfold. Let it ease its way into your awareness like a door opening in a quiet hallway, letting in a light you didn't realize you were waiting for. And as that light reaches you, something inside begins to loosen, making space for what your heart has needed all along. Capricorn, before you take on the weight of what happened, I want you to pause with me for a moment. Just breathe. Let the air move through you in a way that feels steady, like a tide coming in after a long night. Because what looked like loss in your life was never loss at all. There are moments when a door closes so abruptly, or a connection grows quiet so quickly, that your first instinct is to wonder what you did wrong. But the truth, Capricorn, is that life has been guiding you away from certain people long before you realized they were no longer meant to walk beside you. You may not have understood it at the time, why a conversation felt different, why your heart suddenly resisted sharing the way it used to, why someone you once trusted began to feel distant, even when they stood right next to you. But your spirit knew. It recognized the shift before your mind could catch up. It pulled you back gently, the way a parent might place a hand on a child's shoulder before they wander into harm they can't yet see. Sometimes protection doesn't look like a miracle. It looks like silence. It looks like a canceled plan. It looks like being left out of a conversation you thought you wanted to be in. It looks like someone drifting away without explanation. And while your human heart may interpret these moments as rejection, your soul understands them as shelter. You weren't being pushed aside. You were being pulled to safety. There is a kind of wisdom woven into the fabric of your path, a wisdom that sees what you cannot. It sees intentions before they unfold. It sees envy before it speaks. It sees betrayal before it reaches your door. And it steps between you and the harm in ways that feel confusing until the truth finally surfaces. Every time you felt the urge to stay quiet, every time your energy withdrew without warning, every time your body tensed around someone you once loved easily, that was your protection speaking. It wasn't fear. It wasn't coldness. It was your inner compass turning you gently away from the very people who could not honor the heart you offered. And maybe you questioned yourself. Maybe you wondered why the connection didn't feel the same, why you couldn't open up the way you used to, why something in you hesitated, even when your mind tried to insist everything was fine. But nothing in you was malfunctioning. Nothing in you was overreacting. You were being guided, moved, shielded, because the blessings forming around your life now cannot be handed to just anyone. Not everyone is meant to witness your rising. Not everyone has the integrity to stand close when your world begins to shift. And some people, some you once loved without question, would have taken pieces of your light and carried them into shadows you never intended to follow. So the universe stepped in, quietly, firmly, with a love that doesn't always look gentle. And as you begin to see the pattern, as the truth starts to land in the center of your chest, you'll feel something inside you make room for a new kind of understanding, one that's been waiting to show you where you're meant to go next. Capricorn, there's a moment in every journey when the ground beneath you begins to feel different, not unstable, just unfamiliar, as if life is rearranging itself quietly, gently, to make room for something you haven't experienced yet. That's where you are right now. You've walked through truth. You've felt the sting of realization, and the strange kind of calm that follows it, like the air after a heavy storm when everything smells cleaner, clearer. And even if part of you is still catching up, your spirit already knows you're stepping into a version of life that fits you better than anything you've had to settle for before. There is a peace forming around you, a peace that doesn't demand effort or explanation or sacrifice. It's the kind of peace that shows up when you finally stop carrying what was never meant for you, when you stop trying to hold together relationships that cracked long before you admitted they were changing, when the people around you start to reflect the same honesty and steadiness that you've poured into others for years. And Capricorn, you deserve that softness. You deserve the kind of connections that feel like exhaling. People who don't make you decode their intentions. People who meet your sincerity with sincerity of their own. People who don't get intimidated by your strength, but feel inspired by it. People who see your silence not as distance, but as depth. Life is quietly gathering those people around you now. It's subtle at first. A conversation that feels easier than you expected. A presence that doesn't drain you. Someone whose energy settles your own instead of stirring it. You'll notice how your body responds long before your mind labels it. A loosening in your shoulders, a warmth in your chest, a sense of coming home to something you didn't realize you'd been searching for. And love. Love begins to shift too. Not the kind that demands pieces of you, not the kind that keeps you guessing, but the kind that stands with both feet on the ground, steady, honest, present. A connection that doesn't need masks because truth feels safe. A partnership where your strength isn't a threat, but a foundation. Where vulnerability isn't used against you, but welcomed, held, protected. You've grown into someone who no longer chases intensity for its own sake. You want real. You want warm. You want consistent. And life is moving you into the spaces where those qualities live naturally. Where your heart doesn't have to earn its place. Where your effort is matched. Where your soul is met with equal depth. So let yourself soften here. Let yourself imagine what it might feel like to build connections that don't fracture under pressure, but grow stronger with time. Feel how your life begins to widen, the way a horizon stretches after a long night, quiet and full of possibility. And as that horizon opens, as you begin to sense what's waiting for you just beyond the edge, you may notice something else rising from within you. A small, steady shift, guiding you toward the part of your story that's ready to unfold next. Capricorn. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the truth does more than open your eyes. It opens your spine. It lifts your chin. It reminds you of the kind of strength that was written into you long before life tested it. You've carried so much with quiet dignity. You've held yourself together in seasons that would have broken people who speak louder than you do. And even now, after everything you've learned, you have not let bitterness settle in your chest. That says more about your character than anything you've ever had to explain. What they did, what was said, what was taken or twisted, none of that defines you. It never has. Your story has never been the wound. Your story has always been the rise after it. There's something sacred about the way you rebuild, Capricorn. You don't announce it. You don't demand applause. You just stand up quietly, gather the pieces of your spirit, and place them back into your life with more intention than before. And somehow, you come back sharper, steadier, as if the truth purified something inside you instead of breaking it. People underestimate that kind of resilience. They assume silence means weakness, when in reality, your silence is the sound of wisdom, choosing its moment. They assume grace means softness, not understanding how much strength it takes to stay open in a world that has tried to close you. But Capricorn, you didn't close. You didn't collapse into the hurt. You didn't let someone else's choices distort the goodness inside you. You rose in the way only earth signs know how to rise, slow, certain, rooted in a truth nothing can shake. And because of that, life is shifting around you, not dramatically, not with fireworks or noise, but with a quiet authority that feels almost like someone placing a gentle hand on your back and guiding you toward a future that finally fits the size of your soul. This isn't the end of a chapter. It's the beginning of clarity. It's the moment you step into a version of yourself that has shed what was heavy, released what was untrue, and reclaimed what was always yours. There is a crown being set back on your spirit, not a crown of superiority, but of self-respect. A crown of boundaries learned through fire. A crown of knowing your worth without needing anyone to confirm it for you. A crown made of every moment you chose healing over retaliation, growth over resentment, truth over comfort. Feel that for a moment. Feel what it means to walk with the kind of confidence that doesn't need noise, the kind that comes from surviving what was meant to dim you and shining anyway. And as that strength settles into you, as it becomes not just something you think about, but something you breathe, you may notice a soft shift in the air around you, a quiet invitation forming, pulling you gently toward what your spirit has been preparing to receive all along. Capricorn. Before we close tonight, there's one more truth I want you to feel, not with your mind, but with that steady ancient wisdom you carry in your bones. You made it through something that was meant to shake you. And yet, here you are, still standing, still rising, still choosing the kind of dignity that not everyone is strong enough to hold. What happened behind your back could have hardened you. It could have closed your heart. It could have turned you into someone unrecognizable, but it didn't. You kept your integrity. You kept your compassion. You kept your center, even while the ground around you shifted. That is your victory. Not the loud kind, the sacred kind. And now, the universe moves differently for you. Doors open just a little easier. Peace finds you a little faster. The right people feel a little closer, because you've shown life that you're ready for what's next. So, Capricorn, if you feel something stirring inside you right now, that's not fear. That's your spirit remembering who you are. If this message landed in your chest tonight, write it below so the world can feel your strength. I rise in truth. And my new chapter begins now. Let it be your declaration. Let it be the moment you step into the life that has been waiting for you. And if this message found you at the right time, give it a like, subscribe to this space, and stay close to this Capricorn family that grows stronger every time one of us chooses healing over hurt. Because your journey isn't ending here. Not even close. There is more guidance coming, more clarity, more light. The kind of messages that meet you exactly where you are and help you take the next step with confidence. So, rest your heart tonight. You are protected, you are rising, and your story is just beginning.